Welcome back to the channel, Rare Coins Collections, where we uncover the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins. Today, we have an extraordinary piece of U.S. numismatic history to talk about, something that many collectors overlook, but could be sitting in your collection, right under your nose, waiting to make you a small fortune. We're talking about the United States 1-cent coin from 1975 with a rare mint mark. Trust us, this coin is more than just its face value. Let's start by setting the stage. The year is 1975, a time of great change and transformation in the United States. The economy was recovering from the tumultuous 1970s, with inflation at a high point, and the country was still adjusting after the end of the Vietnam War. It was a year marked by technological innovations, cultural shifts, and political changes, with America moving into the next phase of its history. During this time, the U.S. Mint was busy producing various denominations of coins, including the iconic 1-cent piece. At the time, the U.S. Mint was producing billions of these pennies each year to meet the demand for small change in a rapidly growing economy. But little did most people know, amidst all the mass production, a rare minting error was about to occur, turning one simple 1975 1-cent coin into a valuable treasure. So, why is the 1975 1-cent coin so significant? Well, it comes down to the mint mark. Before we dive into the rare mint mark that makes this coin special, let's briefly talk about what mint marks are. Mint marks are small letters stamped onto coins by the U.S. Mint to identify where the coin was produced. The primary minting locations are Laughing Face for the Denver Mints, for the San Francisco Mint, P for the Philadelphia Mint, which doesn't usually feature a mint mark on most coins. Now, for most coins, these mint marks don't add much value. However, there are certain rare combinations and anomalies that can make a coin much more valuable than others. This is where the 1975 1-cent coin comes into play. For most 1975 pennies, you'll find the usual D mint mark, indicating that they were minted in Denver, or no mint mark at all, indicating they were struck in Philadelphia. However, there was an unusual and rare circumstance during the production of these coins that made some 1975 pennies particularly valuable to collectors. Here's where the story gets interesting. While most 1975 pennies were produced with either a D mint mark or no mint mark, a small number of these coins were produced with the 1975 S mint mark, a mark that is typically only found on proof coins struck at the San Francisco Mint. Now, you may be wondering, what's the big deal with this mint mark? Well, here's the catch. The San Francisco Mint was primarily responsible for striking proof coins, which are specially made for collectors and are of much higher quality than regular circulation coins. Regular pennies minted in 1975 should not have the S mint mark. Somehow, a small batch of 1975 pennies was minted with the S mint mark intended for proof coins, but these coins were not struck for proof sets, they were part of the regular production of circulating coins. This rare minting error means that the coin carries both the rarity of the mint mark and the unusual nature of its production. This 1975 S penny is one of the most sought-after coins by collectors, and its value has skyrocketed over time due to its rarity. But what makes this coin even more interesting is its condition. As with all rare coins, the condition of a 1975 1-cent coin plays a huge role in determining its value. The higher the quality, the greater the price. Most of the 1975 pennies, including the ones with the rare S mint mark, were used in everyday transactions, which means they typically show signs of wear and tear. However, finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition, with no signs of scratches, discoloration, or damage, is incredibly rare. Even more desirable are uncirculated 1975 S pennies that have been preserved in perfect condition and have been kept safe from circulation. These coins are considered to be in mint state or proof-like quality, meaning that they've been preserved in the same pristine condition as a coin straight from the mint. This makes them even more valuable to collectors looking to complete their sets or invest in rare, high-quality coins. So, how much could a 1975 1-cent coin with the rare S mint mark be worth? Well, hold on to your seats, because we're talking about a significant sum, if you happen to have a 1975 penny with that elusive S mint mark and it's in pristine uncirculated condition, you could be looking at a value of up to $27,000. That's right, $27,000 for a single 1975 1-cent coin with the rare S mint mark. This is not your average penny. So, take a moment to check your coin collection. If you find one of these rare pennies, you might just have a small fortune in your hands. Now that you know the value of this rare 1975 1-cent coin, it's time to go hunting. Take a look through your collections, or check those old jars of loose change you have lying around. You might just have a hidden gem. Today, we have something truly special to talk about: the United States 1-cent coin from 1978, specifically one with a rare mint mark. This isn't just any old penny, this is a coin that could be worth thousands of dollars. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how much this unassuming penny could be worth today. Let's set the stage. The year is 1978, a time of economic change in the United States. The country was recovering from the aftermath of the 1970s, with the effects of inflation still lingering, and the economy was beginning to stabilize after the energy crisis. But in the world of coins, the year 1978 was not just another year of regular minting. While most of us might think of pennies as just pocket change, the 1978 1-cent coin holds a story of its own, produced during a time when the U.S. Mint was busy striking billions of coins for circulation. These pennies were struck in huge numbers to meet the everyday demands of the American economy. Most of them went into circulation, used for small purchases, and eventually worn out. But within that sea of pennies, a few were minted with a rare variant that would later make this coin highly valuable too. Before we dive into what makes the 1978 penny so valuable, let's talk a little bit about mint marks. Mint marks are the small letters stamped onto coins by the U.S. Mint to indicate where the coin was struck. The three main minting locations are Laughing Face for the Denver Mints, for the San Francisco Mint, P for the Philadelphia Mint, which usually does not have a mint mark on most coins. For most pennies, these mint marks don't make a huge difference in value. But every so often, there are certain years where mint marks or the lack of mint marks can make a huge impact on the coin's rarity and worth. This is exactly what happened with the 1978 1-cent coin. So, what is it about the 1978 penny that makes it so interesting to collectors? Well, it all comes down to the mint marks and production anomalies that occurred that year. In 1978, the U.S. Mint struck pennies at both the Denver Mint and the Philadelphia Mint. Most 1978 pennies you'll find will have a D mint mark, indicating they were produced in Denver. The Denver Mint was and still is one of the primary locations for mass-producing circulating coins, and this mint mark is common in 1978 pennies. But here's the twist: although the D mint mark is common, there were some rare variants and errors that make certain 1978 pennies much more valuable than others. These could be the result of errors during minting, striking issues, or mistakes in the use of mint marks. Now, this is where things get really interesting. While most 1978 pennies were minted at the Denver Mint, with the D mint mark, there were some pennies that were incorrectly struck with the S mint mark, the mint mark usually reserved for proof coins produced in San Francisco. This is an extremely rare error, and it was not meant to happen. The S mint mark is typically seen on proof coins, which are specially struck, higher quality coins made for collectors, not for general circulation. So, how did these 1978 pennies end up with the S mint mark? Well, there's no definitive explanation, but it is believed that a small number of San Francisco proof dies were mistakenly used to strike regular circulation pennies at the Philadelphia Mint. This created an anomaly: a few 1978 pennies with the S mint mark, which should never have appeared on a regular penny. Now, you might think this is just a minor error, but for collectors, it's a goldmine. These 1978 S mint mark pennies are highly sought after, as they are both rare and incredibly difficult to find in uncirculated condition. As with all rare coins, the condition of the 1978 penny plays a huge role in determining its value. While finding a 1978 penny with the S mint mark is already quite rare, finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition is even more valuable. Coins that have never been in circulation are much more desirable to collectors because they have preserved their original luster, sharp details, and overall quality. If a coin has been in circulation for years, it will likely show signs of wear, scratches, discoloration, or a softened image. But uncirculated coins, especially those with minting errors, can be worth significantly more due to their rarity and preservation. So, what could a 1978 1-cent coin with the rare S mint mark be worth today? Well, brace yourself, because the value of this rare penny is no small change. If you have an uncirculated 1978 penny with the S mint mark, you could be holding a small fortune. A 1978 S mint mark penny in excellent, uncirculated condition can fetch up to $29,000, yes, that's right, $29,000 for a single 1978 1-cent coin with the rare S mint mark. Imagine turning your everyday pocket change into that kind of value. So, there you have it, the amazing story behind the 1978 1-cent coin with the rare S mint mark. If you happen to have one of these rare pennies in your collection, be sure to hold on to it. You might just have an incredible treasure worth thousands of dollars. Today, we've got something truly special to talk about, a coin that could be sitting in your change jar right now, just waiting for you to uncover its secret value. We're talking about the United States 1-cent coin from 1982, but not just any 1982 penny. No, today we're diving into the rare mint mark varieties and error coins that make this penny a true collector's gem. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how much this little coin could be worth today. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for the big reveal. Let's rewind to 1982 for a moment. This was a year of transition in the United States, and not just politically or economically. For the first time in more than 100 years, the U.S. Mint made a major change to the composition of the 1-cent coin. Up until then, pennies were made primarily of 95% copper with a little zinc. However, due to rising copper prices, the mint decided to shift the composition to 97.5% zinc and only 2.5% copper. This was a monumental change that impacted the penny's design and production. While this was going on, the 1982 1-cent coin was also the subject of some fascinating minting errors and variations that would make it extremely valuable to collectors. So, what makes the 1982 penny so interesting? Well, there are several factors that come into play here, starting with the mint mark. First, let's take a moment to talk about mint marks, those tiny letters stamped on coins by the U.S. Mint that tell us where the coin was struck. The most common mint marks are laughing face for the Denver Mints, for the San Francisco Mint, P for the Philadelphia Mint, which doesn't usually feature a mint mark on most coins now. The 1982 1-cent coin came with a few variations when it comes to mint marks. You'd typically find pennies with the D mint mark for coins produced at the Denver Mint, or no mint mark at all, which would indicate production at the Philadelphia Mint. But the interesting part comes when you start factoring in the changes to the composition and the minting errors that were happening around this time. Before we get into the error coins, let's briefly talk about the shift in the composition of the 1982 penny. As mentioned, this was the year the U.S. Mint began using zinc instead of copper for the majority of the penny's content. Now, here's where things get really interesting. The 1982 penny was struck in both copper and zinc, which means there are actually two distinct types of 1982 pennies: the copper-based penny, which weighs 3.11 grams, the zinc-based penny, which weighs 2.5 grams. These two versions of the penny are incredibly significant for collectors, as the difference in weight is an easy way to tell them apart. But here's the catch: finding the right version and in perfect condition can drastically affect the coin's value. Now, let's dive into the 1982 mint marks. The majority of the 1982 pennies that were minted were struck at the Denver Mint. That's where the D mint mark comes in, and these coins are the most common. But here's the twist: the 1982 S mint mark penny, which was minted at the San Francisco Mint, was only used for proof coins, not regular circulation pennies. This is where it gets interesting for collectors. While most 1982 pennies were produced in Denver and Philadelphia, a small number of 1982 pennies, particularly those from the San Francisco Mint, are considered proof coins. These coins are struck with a special, high-quality process and are intended for collectors, not everyday use. Some of these coins ended up circulating, and finding one of these 1982 proof pennies with an S mint mark in uncirculated condition is a collector's dream. But hold on, this is where things get even more exciting. One of the most sought-after 1982 pennies is the 1982 D/D error coin. What is this error, and why does it make the coin so valuable? During the minting process, the D mint mark was overstruck on some coins, causing the original D mint mark to show through underneath the second, overlaid D mint mark. This is known as the D/D error, and it's one of the rarest and most valuable 1982 pennies out there. Finding this type of error in good condition is an absolute treasure for collectors. Not only does it come with an intriguing minting story, but its rarity makes it incredibly valuable. In fact, error coins like this one are known to attract premium prices in the numismatic market. Okay, let's get to the moment you've all been waiting for. Just how much could a 1982 1-cent coin be worth today? If you happen to have a 1982 penny with the rare D/D mint mark error, or a pristine, uncirculated proof penny with an S mint mark, you could be looking at a value of up to $31,000. Yes, you heard that right. $31,000 for a single 1982 1-cent coin. This makes the 1982 penny one of the most valuable pennies in circulation, and it could be worth a small fortune if you find the right one in your collection. So, there you have it, the amazing story of the 1982 1-cent coin, and why this seemingly ordinary penny could be worth so much. If you happen to have one of these rare error coins or proof coins, make sure to hold on to it. It might be worth far more than you think. Today, we're going to be talking about a penny, a 1-cent coin from 1981, that might be hiding in your collection or sitting in a jar of old change. But don't be fooled by its appearance. This seemingly ordinary coin could be worth a small fortune if you know what to look for. That's right, we're about to explore the 1981 1-cent coin and reveal why certain variations of this penny can fetch some truly impressive prices. Trust us, you won't want to miss the big reveal at the end of this video. Let's take a step back and look at the year 1981. The early 80s were a time of economic recovery and political change in the United States. The economy was coming off the heels of the 1970s recession, which had been marked by inflation and the oil crisis. By 1981, the country was entering a period of growth under President Ronald Reagan, with a focus on reducing inflation and boosting economic expansion. For the U.S. Mint, 1981 was just another year in its ongoing effort to produce the vast amounts of currency needed for a growing economy. But while the Mint was busy striking billions of pennies and other coins for circulation, not many people realized that a rare variation of the 1981 penny was quietly being minted, one that would eventually become highly coveted by collectors. So, what is it that makes the 1981 1-cent coin so interesting and valuable? Well, there are several factors that come into play, especially when it comes to the mint marks and varieties of this penny. Before we get into the specifics of what makes the 1981 penny so valuable, let's take a quick look at the concept of mint marks. Mint marks are small letters stamped onto coins by the U.S. Mint that indicate the location where the coin was struck. For most coins, the primary mint marks are laughing face for the Denver Mints, for the San Francisco Mint, P for the Philadelphia Mint, which, interestingly, does not usually feature a mint mark on coins. For the 1981 1-cent coin, the most common mint marks are the D for the Denver Mint and the P for the Philadelphia Mint. However, it's the variations and errors that occur with these mint marks, along with specific characteristics of the coin, that can make the 1981 penny incredibly valuable to collectors. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Most 1981 pennies were struck in large numbers and were distributed for regular circulation. However, due to the sheer volume of coins being produced and the pressure on the U.S. Mint to churn out so many coins, some minting errors occurred, errors that would later make certain 1981 pennies highly desirable in the numismatic world. The key to unlocking the value of a 1981 penny lies in its condition, its mint mark, and any minting errors it might have. The 1981 D/D error coin, in particular, has become a highly sought-after variation by collectors. What is the D/D error? Well, this particular error occurs when the D mint mark is overstruck on top of another D mint mark. Essentially, this happens when the Denver Mint used a die that had an already struck mint mark, resulting in two impressions of the same D mint mark. This causes the error, and it makes these 1981 pennies incredibly rare to find, especially in pristine condition. As with all rare coins, the condition of the 1981 1-cent coin plays a huge role in determining its value. Most 1981 pennies that were released into circulation show signs of wear from being handled in everyday transactions. The more worn and damaged the coin is, the less it is worth in the eyes of collectors. However, the rarity and high demand for coins with errors like the D/D or other subtle variations can significantly increase the value, especially if the coin is in uncirculated condition. An uncirculated coin is one that has never been used in circulation, meaning it has no wear and tear, and retains its original luster and sharp details. When collectors discover 1981 D/D error coins in perfect or near perfect condition, they know they've stumbled upon something truly rare, and that's when the bidding begins to soar. Now, let's get to the most exciting part of this video, the value of the 1981 1-cent coin. If you happen to have a 1981 penny with the D/D mint mark error, especially if it's in mint state, you could be looking at an incredibly valuable coin in your collection. A well-preserved, uncirculated 1981 D/D error penny can fetch up to $36,000. That's right, $36,000 for a single 1981 1-cent coin. Imagine turning what you thought was just a regular penny into that kind of money. So, there you have it, the 1981 1-cent coin and why it's more than just a penny. Whether it's the D/D error or another rare variation, this penny has the potential to be worth a fortune if you know what to look for. If you have any 1981 pennies lying around in your collection or in that old jar of loose change, it's definitely worth a closer inspection. You might just have a small fortune on your hands. Today, we have a coin that may seem unassuming at first glance, but trust us, it's got a story and value that will surprise you. We're talking about the United States 1-cent coin from 1968. This coin might just look like a regular penny, but it has some unique features that can make it worth a lot more than you might think. Stick around until the end of this video to find out exactly how much this little penny could be worth today. You won't want to miss it. Let's start with a little bit of background on the 1968 1-cent coin. The late 60s were a time of significant change and political upheaval in the United States. It was the height of the Vietnam War, a time of great civil unrest, and a period marked by the civil rights movement. But in the world of coins, 1968 was also a year of transition for the U.S. Mint. In 1968, the U.S. Mint made a major change in the way it produced coins, specifically, the composition of the penny. This was the last year that the traditional copper penny was minted in large quantities before the switch to a different alloy in the coming years. Starting in 1982, the penny would be made primarily of zinc, with a thin copper coating. But for the 1968 penny, this was still the time of the classic copper composition, which makes this coin particularly significant to collectors who are passionate about the traditional U.S. Mint coins. Now, let's move on to the most important part, the rarities and errors associated with the 1968 1-cent coin that can really make it a valuable find. Before we get into the specific rare versions of the 1968 penny, let's first talk about mint marks. Mint marks are those small letters on a coin that tell us where the coin was struck. For most coins, the main mint marks are laughing face for the Denver Mints, for the San Francisco Mint, P for the Philadelphia Mint, which, interestingly, doesn't typically use a mint mark on coins. For the 1968 penny, you'll find pennies with either a D mint mark for coins produced in Denver or a S mint mark for coins produced in San Francisco. But here's the thing, while these two mint marks are relatively common, there's a specific 1968 penny variant that's highly prized among collectors, and that's the 1968 S proof penny. Here's where things get exciting. Proof coins are coins that are specially struck for collectors, unlike the regular circulating coins you'd find in your pocket change. They're struck multiple times using polished dies to create a high-quality, mirror-like finish. Proof coins are typically produced in San Francisco, which is why we see the S mint mark on them. Now, in 1968, the San Francisco Mint produced proof pennies, but the real rarity here is that these coins were produced in limited numbers, and only a small number of them ever made it into circulation. As a result, 1968 S proof pennies are considered rare and are often highly valued by collectors, but there's a catch: many of these proof coins were kept by collectors and not used in regular circulation, so they were preserved in pristine condition. This makes them highly sought after today, especially if you can find one that has never been handled or worn down. If you thought we were done, think again. There's another aspect of the 1968 penny that makes it even more valuable, and that's the error coins. In 1968, a certain number of S mint mark pennies were struck with a double die obverse, meaning that the design on the front of the coin, the side with Abraham Lincoln's portrait, was struck twice by the die, resulting in a blurry, doubled appearance of the date and other details. The 1968 S double die obverse penny is one of the most famous error coins of the 1960s, and if you happen to come across one of these in pristine condition, you could be holding a coin worth thousands of dollars. The error gives the coin a unique, distinctive appearance that makes it incredibly appealing to collectors, and because the mistake was relatively uncommon, finding one of these error coins can be quite rare. Now, the condition of the coin also plays a huge role in determining its value. Most of the 1968 pennies in circulation show signs of wear and damage. But if you can find one in mint state, meaning it hasn't been used in circulation and still has a sharp, clear image with no scratches or signs of wear, that's when the coin starts to really gain value. And if you happen to find a proof penny or an error coin in mint condition, then you've got yourself a collector's dream. These coins can fetch incredible prices on the market, especially if you have one with a double die or an unblemished proof finish. Now, here's the big question: how much could a 1968 1-cent coin be worth today? If you happen to have a 1968 S proof penny or a 1968 S double die obverse penny in pristine, uncirculated condition, you could be looking at a coin worth up to $34,000. That's right, $34,000 for a single 1968 penny. It's mind-blowing to think that a coin that's over 50 years old could be worth that much, but that's the magic of rare coins. They can hold incredible value for collectors who are in the know. So, there you have it, the fascinating story of the 1968 1-cent coin and why it's worth much more than just its face value. If you happen to find a 1968 S proof penny or an error coin like the S double die obverse, make sure to get it checked out. It could be worth a lot more than you think. Today, we're diving into the world of a coin you might not expect to be worth a fortune, the 1989 1-cent coin. That's right, this seemingly humble penny could be sitting in your collection, your change jar, or even in your pocket right now, and it could be worth a lot more than just 1 cent. Stick with us throughout the video as we uncover the mysteries behind the 1989 penny, its mint marks, rarities, and the big surprise we have at the end. You won't want to miss the exciting value reveal, so make sure to stay tuned. Before we get into why the 1989 1-cent coin is so special, let's take a moment to understand the historical backdrop of the year. The 1980s were a time of significant change in the United States, politically and economically. It was the era of Ronald Reagan's presidency, marked by a period of economic expansion following the recession in the early part of the decade. People were enjoying an era of prosperity and innovation, and the U.S. Mint was busy producing coins to meet the growing demand for currency in circulation. Now, the 1989 penny may seem like just another coin, but it's actually a part of a critical period in U.S. coinage. By 1989, the United States had already made some significant changes to its currency, and the 1-cent coin was no exception. Struck in copper-plated zinc, the 1989 penny is part of a long-running design featuring Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, the front, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, the back. But why does this coin stand out? Let's dive into the mint marks, era varieties, and rarities that make the 1989 penny particularly valuable. First, let's talk about mint marks. Mint marks are the small letters found on U.S. coins that indicate where they were struck. For most U.S. coins, you'll typically find laughing face for the Denver mints, for the San Francisco mint, P for the Philadelphia mint, which typically does not feature a mint mark on pennies. For the 1989 1-cent coin, there are a couple of different mint marks that will help determine its rarity and potential value. Most pennies from this year were produced at the Denver Mint, marked with the D mint mark, but you'll also find some 1989 pennies with the S mint mark, produced in San Francisco. The important question is, why does the mint mark matter for this particular year? It all comes down to rarity, demand, and specific minting conditions that make certain 1989 pennies stand out from the rest. Here's where it gets really exciting: the rare varieties and minting errors that make the 1989 penny highly desirable for collectors. While the 1989 1-cent coin was struck in large numbers, only a small percentage of them are in pristine condition today. Many of the coins produced in circulation showed signs of wear and have lost much of their value over time. However, finding one of these pennies in mint condition, or better yet, a rare error coin, can make a huge difference in its value. The 1989 wide AM reverse error, one of the most famous and valuable variations of the 1989 penny, is the wide AM reverse error. This error occurs when the AM letters in the word America on the reverse side of the coin are spaced further apart than usual. This variation is extremely rare and sought after by collectors. In fact, the 1989 wide AM penny is one of the most notable errors from the 1980s, and if you happen to find one, it could be worth far more than a typical penny. The reason the wide AM error is so valuable is because it was a result of a dies mismatch at the US Mint. This error wasn't intentional, but it ended up creating a very rare variation that coin enthusiasts are always on the lookout for. High-grade examples: if you have a 1989 penny that is in mint state, meaning it hasn't been circulated and retains its sharp, crisp details, then it could also be worth quite a bit more than face value. Coins that have been well preserved and have no signs of wear or scratches can fetch higher prices from collectors. Coins that grade out at MS 67 or higher, using the mint state scale, are highly desirable, and a perfectly graded 1989 penny could bring a substantial premium on the market. In addition to the regular circulating coins, the 1989 penny was also struck as a proof coin at the San Francisco Mint. These proof pennies were specially minted for collectors, using high-quality dies and multiple strikes to ensure a mirror-like, flawless finish. The 1989 S proof penny is one of those collector's items that stands out in the world of numismatics. These proof coins were not released into circulation and were only available in proof sets, making them rarer than the regular circulation coins. If you happen to have a flawless 1989 S proof penny, it could be worth a good amount, especially if it's been kept in its original packaging and hasn't been handled much. So, how much is your 1989 1-cent coin really worth? Well, if you have one of the rare error coins, like the 1989 wide AM reverse penny, or if you have a high-grade proof coin or uncirculated example, the value can be incredible. The 1989 wide AM error penny in mint state condition can fetch a significant premium, with some examples selling for as much as $42,000. That's right, $42,000 for a single 1989 penny. It's hard to believe that a coin that looks so ordinary could be worth such a massive amount, but that's the beauty of rare and unique coins. Who knew that a 1989 1-cent coin could be worth so much? Whether it's the wide AM error, a proof penny, or just a well-preserved high-grade coin, there are definitely some hidden treasures out there for collectors. So, next time you come across a 1989 penny, take a second look. You could be holding a coin worth thousands, If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on future discoveries. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy collecting.